This episode of PromoAM is brought to you by Promo Corner. Want to support a sales campaign and reach a larger audience? Raise your brand awareness with content sponsorships. For more information, contact sales@promocorner.com.
Good morning and welcome to PromoAM. I'm your morning anchor, Amelia Model, and joining me is Darlene Blaum, or Blaum, CEO of Peernet. Hi, Darlene.
Hello, thanks for having me. It's exciting to be here with you today.
Thank you for coming. I'm really excited too, because Brandon gets to have all the fun with you. So I feel really special that it's just you and I getting to talk. And
we should have invited him.
No, girls time only. So you've been at Peernet for a while. How long do you want to tell?
So 12 years I have been with Peernet, which is crazy. Yeah, it's and I don't know if everybody knows what Peernet is. So should I share that?
Yeah. I should ask that. I just assume you guys are famous. Everybody knows who you are and what you do, but please.
Certainly. So Peernet is an alliance of 17 large distributor companies. And we are geographically dispersed. So we are in, 17 states, and we've got kind of a national footprint. We do about 400 million in sales collectively across those distributors. And we do a lot of knowledge share and working together. And so that's really the benefit of being in the group.
Awesome. Okay. So you've been at Peernet for 12 years. You talked a little bit about what you do. You guys also put on in-person shows every year. And this year, because of the circumstances, you guys went virtual, and you've actually done 2 events and you kind of broke them up. Can you tell everybody a little bit about what you did and how you did it?
Yeah. So when COVID actually hit, and I remember the date, it was March 11th, was when we had to make the call that we were not going to hold Peernet Works last year. And Peernet Works is our annual sales event where we bring in 38 of our preferred suppliers, and then we bring in about 150 of our top sales associates. And they really spend 3 days meeting in 25-minute sessions. So they'll rotate through all 38 rooms and spend 25 minutes with them in groups of 4 or 5. So we were really sad. I think I brought events with me to Peernet. So that was our 12th Peernet Works. They are a lot of fun. There is a lot of relationship building and a lot of just really good knowledge shared. We're collaborating on projects that those sales associates are working on. So we were sad that we couldn't have it. And we naively thought that, COVID will be over by September and we'll be able to hold another face-to-face event. And then obviously that did not happen. And so then when 2020 rolled around, we had to make the decision, are we going to do something in person, or what are our alternatives? And we knew that we weren't going to have something in March of 2021 either. And so one of my suppliers, my preferred suppliers, had mentioned that I should look at the promo show platform. And I think that's when I made my first call to you. And I knew that there were certain things that I wanted. I did not just want a platform where my sales folks could go in and look at videos and flyers. I wanted interaction. I wanted the suppliers and our sales associates to be having live conversations. I wanted small groups so that they could be interacting with one another and talking about upcoming projects. I wanted cameras on. I did not want we had done Zoom calls earlier in the year where a supplier came on and they did a 30-40 minute presentation and walked through a webinar. And I didn't want that either. It was very important for me to have that interaction. And so, as you know, we did our first event in January of this year, and we brought in 23 of our preferred suppliers, or 21 of our preferred suppliers. Yeah. And we got great feedback, and the interaction, they loved it, both the suppliers and our sales associates. And I think they were craving that interaction. Even though it was virtual, they were still craving that interaction. And So then we, because we got such great feedback, we decided that we would hold another one a couple months later. So we came back to you. So we just finished up our second, we called it Rendezvous. Isn't that creative?
Do one in part do.
Rendezvous and Rendezvous part two. And so we just finished that up. And again, we got amazing feedback. So yeah, we were very pleased.
And we loved it. And thank you, whoever the supplier is that suggested Promo Corner and Promo Show, and you reached out, because it has been an absolute joy working with you and Becky. Brandon and I have had the best times. And sometimes I call you and just say, hey, can we have Friday talks even if we're not working? I'm like, let's just still hang out and be friends.
I know. And your team is amazing too. And I would say it is a little bit scary doing anything virtual and knowing that you're going to have technical issues. Like, no matter what you do. I mean, you and I getting on this call today, I was like, I can see you, but I can't hear you. So I think that's out there, right? I mean, a technical issue could show up at any point in time. And I think once you realize that and you're just laid back about it, and we gave as much information as we could to our attendees up front, but you're going to have the full gamut of people who are very technical experienced and some that just aren't. But your team jumped in so quickly. We love to tell our folks, there's that little help desk bubble up in the corner, just push that, and Amelia or Joel or Brandon will pop on and help you. And I think that's what made it so easy for us, is that I had built up that we were going to have so many technical issues that it was a complete joy when we did not, or you guys resolved whatever issues we had so quickly.
Well, thank you. We really try and strive, because it is live and it is time consuming, and people get stressed out. We get stressed out when things don't work. People get stressed out. It's frustrating. You get the sweats, your face starts getting red, especially when you're on camera. And if there's other people around, it's just everyone's worst nightmare. So we've slowly started to, I wouldn't say perfect it, but we're getting as close as we can. So I was going to ask you some of those are kind of the behind the scenes, like the day of, we're like having our pre-prayer, like, oh, Lordy, please make sure everything goes, make sure the internet stays. But in terms of planning, how different was it for you guys planning this being a virtual event versus all the planning that goes into when you have the live in-person events?
Oh my gosh. So Becky and I are true planners at heart, and we do, we're very detailed. And so we plan out everything. But I think, I looked last night, I think I signed the contract with you on like December 3rd, and our event was the end of January, and you have to even take a couple weeks out of there for Christmas and holidays. And so we turned this event very quickly. We still had our folks register. They had to register on the Promo Show platform and with us. We sent them a box of goodies, or I should say goodies, suppliers provided samples to send to them prior to the event. So we needed their address. So we still needed to do some pre-work. And then there was some planning. We wanted to make sure that we were offering them, whether it was education sessions or fun things that we were bringing, that it wasn't just, coming and hearing presentations. And so we wanted to pull as much of the personalization into the event that we could, but so much easier to do a virtual event. I mean, I did not have to do a housing list. I did not have to do logistics or transportation, no BEOs. So way easier to do a virtual event. Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, we love to hear that. And that is kind of part of the benefit. I always say, like, it's the comparison of a wedding planner. So we're kind of the planner, the wedding planner, because we're doing the behind the scenes, setting up the booth, doing any personalized training that needs to be done. So obviously it was a little bit easier. Obviously there is still stress involved, but you didn't have to leave your house. You were still around with kids and stuff. And then in terms of the feedback, obviously you came back for due. So you liked it and enjoyed it. But the overall feedback from attendees, do you want to talk about the experience of the distributors? Because that's a big thing with going virtual, is the loss of the connection and the relationships, but it sounds like a lot of your people give really positive feedback.
Yes. We really got great feedback, and I'm going to share specifically one that I got over the weekend from she's been with a distributor for I would probably say over 15 years. She's a multi-million-dollar producer. And she sent me this email and said, I just really wanted you to know how valuable this event was for me. I don't always get to go to the in-person events because I can't be away from my clients for 3 to 5 days if you add travel in on either side.
Mm-hmm.
And she said for me, she attended, so the way that we set up our meeting, we had 4 days. So one event was 4 days. We did a Wednesday and Thursday one week and a Wednesday and Thursday the following week. And it was from 1 to 3:30. So 2.5 hours each of those 4 days. So in that period of time, she was able to see 22 suppliers from the first meeting and 21 suppliers from the second meeting. So she was able to see that many, spend that much time with those preferred suppliers. And she said from a mega sourcing standpoint, I learned so much and got so much knowledge about new product, about their capabilities, things that I just was not aware of.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, since the event, so keep in mind, our event ended a week ago on Thursday. She said, I have 8 new projects that came as a result of that event that I am working on right now. And so her feedback to me, which really got me thinking, there are people who can't come to an in-person event, whether that is they can't travel or they have a conflict with, ours is usually in the spring. So, spring break sometimes conflicts, or our distributors, especially our larger ones, they can't send everybody because if you do the math, we bring in 150 people and there's 17 distributors. So there's only so many that they can bring in. So sometimes they have to alternate who attends. But if we were to continue and to do a virtual event every year for those people who can't travel or don't have the time to be out of the office or for whatever reason, so we're really starting to think about that and decide, is this something we want to continue on? I mean, we're all very anxious to get back face to face and do some of the, fun team building events and the socialization and the networking that happens. But I think this is a very valuable and viable option for us to bring the suppliers to those folks who can't be at the in-person events.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question. Would you suggest people consider hosting virtual? But it sounds like yes is the short answer, but there are still ways to incorporate the in-person because we're all just completely jonesing to get out of our houses and see people. And even if we're not supposed to hug and touch, I'm sure that will be happening. But there are so many restrictions on travel for financial purposes and health purposes. And I believe, like you mentioned, you were able to bring a lot more of the reps because it was just a 2-hour thing each day. People that didn't usually get the opportunity to come, they could easily jump in. Even if they couldn't stay the whole day, they could come in and participate.
Right. Well, another from that perspective, from the supplier side, what was great is that same thing. They can't bring all of their reps to wherever our face-to-face event is. So normally we get, the national rep or the C-level person to come. But in this case, for our virtuals, it was so great that they knew, we provided the rotation schedule and which distributors were going to be in which booth at which time. And so they got all their field reps to pop in for that specific distributor's time that they, represented. And so in some cases we would have, 17 or 18 different people from a supplier company pop in over the 4 days so that they could see, the folks they represent, but they loved that.
Yeah, that I forgot about that too. I would see all these registrations and I was like, what is going on here? And then some of the bigger
like to bring
suppliers
everybody to the party. Everybody
literally had a different sales rep for each group that came in because they were in charge of that group. So it was great that they got to see their customers and didn't miss out on that. And so talking about that and all the people coming in, you guys like to have fun. So do you want to tell us how you were able to have fun on this show virtually and what kind of stuff you guys did to keep it entertained and keep people engaged? Because that's the biggest thing. We get Zoom fatigue. You're sitting in a meeting. You're like, okay, 20-minute presentation, but that wasn't how this one went. So
Well,
tell
it's
us what you
mostly
guys
because
did.
of Brandon, I think, which I think everybody needs to know that Brandon is like an added feature of, you actually should charge more for Brandon.
I
just
know he's
to-
going to be an add-on. We're going to like order now. Do you want to
Wait.
supersize that? Click add Brandon.
Exactly. Yeah, upgrade to Brandon. So having Brandon and being able to brainstorm with you guys was fun beforehand. But like I said, when we do an in-person event, we will do things like, Olympics, or we've done 80s lip sync, or we've done country western and bull riding. And so you have to bring an element of fun to pretty much everything you do. Like if you can't laugh, what's the point? And really doing that and laughing and having fun also knocks down those barriers that people put up, and you get to see people at a different side of them, and you build relationships faster. So we wanted to do that on this virtual event too. So we did things like, team spirit one day where, we gave a raffle prize away for the team that came, whether that was a chant or whether they dressed up or whatever they chose to do. And we had them, send a picture of what they were doing to us, and there was voting of that. We had them all submit their favorite or their best client project. And then we actually showed the people voted on them. We showed the top 10, which fun, but also really good knowledge share because they got to see what other people were doing. We had raffles at the end of every day, which always fun to, and our suppliers gave us some great product that we could raffle off. And then we added some other product in there. And then we also played a trivia game, which was fun. And we pulled in information from the suppliers' booths. And then we also just pulled in some fun, useless trivia as well. And Brandon and I emceed that, which was fun for us. I think it was fun for other people, but
it was awesome. So I was going to ask you, what was your favorite part of the event? Do you have a favorite part? Was it getting on stage and doing trivia, or was it the serious side?
I mean, I think it makes up the whole event, all of it. I so much. We also, and I don't think we shared this. Tell me if we did. One day we broke out into breakout groups. And so did I tell you this already?
Yeah,
I mean,
no,
I know
we didn't talk.
Did you tell?
Did you tell me? Nope, never heard of it.
Did you?
Yes. No, we did not talk about the lobby rooms that we created specific for like a round robin intermingle.
Yes. And, that was another thing that we loved about working with you guys is no matter what we dreamed up, if we came to you and said, hey, this is what we're thinking. I feel like you guys collaborated with us to say, this is how we could make it happen from a technical standpoint, but then also brainstormed with us on, it would be fun if we did this or fun if we added this to it. And so that was great. So we did put people in breakout rooms. And I got a lot of great feedback from the distributors, sales associates, that just that time, and again, whether it's COVID or whether it's, any time, to have people who do what you do every day and to hear their best practices or hear their tips or what they're doing, whether it gives you a new idea or whether it just gives you a comfort level that, hey, they're going through the same thing that I am, or they've got the same challenges. I just think that's very comforting. So I loved those breakout rooms because I'm always looking for ways for our associates to share knowledge with one another. So I loved those, but of course, and the supplier rotations, I mean, our suppliers are the best in class out there, and we have great relationships with them. So I think that was great too. So I don't know that I could put what did I like?
Did I just ask you to pick your favorite child? Is that basically what I did? I said
my youngest by far.
Oh, okay.
No.
She can't pick her favorite thing about the show, but she can tell us who her favorite child is.
I'm just kidding. I just think that he's the one that's going to take care of me when I get old in life. And so I'm putting all of my money and energy into him. No, but seriously, I mean, I loved all of it. The most fun was probably the trivia for me, but that was because I was involved in it. I think had I actually sat through all of the rotations and not in the lobby helping people, then I probably would have said the supplier rotations from a learning standpoint, but most fun trivia for sure.
Yeah, I think so too. You guys did a great job. It was like comedic hour with Darlene and Brandon up there doing it. And your group was so interactive throughout the whole event. You guys had a really interactive group, and that was by design from you guys, but from your suppliers doing game shows or dressing up or including multiple people that were showcasing their showrooms at their offices. Like there was a lot of really cool stuff because I would kind of check in there and make sure everybody was good to go. And another thing from a technical standpoint, we mentioned things don't always go right, but it was so easy with it being digital. So if there was an issue in a supplier's booth, you did not have to run across a hotel or across a venue. We could put you into a booth real fast to fill that void or to help whatever was going on. So that was a really nice part, I thought. So instead of everybody sweating and panicking, or if it was an in-person event and you were running miles around, you're like, I need to go in this booth. We're like, ding, done. You're in there. Go for it.
Well, and I think we should also bring up, because I think I told you and Brandon this story, that sometimes when you go face to face to a hotel, we usually try to get villas. And so, we'll try to put it in a logistic, kind of, everybody understands I'm in this room. And so I'm in room 201. So I should go to 202 next. But sometimes you get hotel setups that aren't that easy. And so there was a time where Becky and I actually took chalk and drew arrows like all around the hotel parking lot so that they knew which room to go to next. But what was great about Promo Show is they literally, after you set up the rotation schedule, all they had to do was click that little next button up in the corner to I didn't have to say, okay, go to this Zoom link. I think I heard, there was another group that had multiple Zoom links that they needed to go to for each show. And this just made it so easy. Nobody had to be looking where they went next. They just hit that little next button and they went to the next rotation, which was beautiful. We loved that.
That made it smooth. And also coming up with the, you guys had it scheduled literally to the minute. Some days had 2-minute breaks, 5-minute breaks, and there were pop-ups on the screen. So everybody knew when it was time to wrap up. So again, you weren't knocking on doors like, hey guys, you're holding up the line. There was a pop-up that says 2-minute warning, how long your break is, and then telling them go. So you weren't like blowing foghorns in the parking lot. It was a nice way to tell everybody the same message at the exact same time.
Yes, which we would do. I mean,
I bet you would. I can picture it.
We'll keep people moving one way or another. Yes, we'll get them moving. And the other great thing is that I could go in right before the show started, and I could see which suppliers were in their booth all at the same time at one glance. And if somebody wasn't there, then we were on the phone right away to say, hey, 5 minutes, you've got to be in your booth. So that was nice to just have a glance of, hey, is everybody all in their room and ready? And even just to pop in quickly and say, hey, audio good, video's good, let's go. So that was nice.
Yeah, that was good. Like I said, you always get that moment of panic before any event, live or virtual, but things seem to get resolved more quickly because it was virtual. So at a quick touch of a button, or you could see, and literally if someone's like, no, I'm here, and you refresh, you're like, okay, they are there. And you don't have to like literally go search for them in a venue trying to track somebody down.
Yes.
All right. Well, any last words of wisdom, Darlene? Anything else you'd like to add that I did not cover?
No, I mean, I think we covered it all. Definitely COVID was hard on all of us, right? But I think sometimes you have to look at what are the good learnings that came out of it. And I do think we'll do virtual events to complement our face-to-face events. I think, what we learned from the breakout groups for the salespeople, I think that will become regular for us. So, I always think that you've got to look, while there's struggles that happen, you've got to look to find the good. And definitely we have some great takeaways from from what happened over this past year. So yeah, we'll be back. We'll be back for sure.
Yay. I'll be waiting. I'll set up my calendar, counting down 364, 362.
Yes. And if Brandon needs me ever to do trivia with him for anybody else, you just call me and I'll be there for you.
I think we just need to do events every like first Fridays where we just have live trivia and just have a good time. No drinking. You don't have to drink. I know we all drink enough. Don't have to drink, but just have some fun, which is what it's all about right now. And just trying to laugh and have a fun time.
Yeah.
So.
And then if you can add some sales onto it too, then nothing wrong with that.
No, not at all. Bring your girl back that is closing all these deals after this meeting. Bring her on and have her teach us all.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for having me today.
Yes, thank you so much for being on here and giving us great feedback, and for allowing me and Promo Show and Promo Corner to be part of your Peernet community. You guys have great people, and you and Becky were just absolutely amazing.
Thank you.
I'm so sad I don't get to talk to you every day.
Oh, you'll still get us. You'll still get us.
Okay, good. All right, folks. Well, that's going to do it for us here today. I'm Amelia Motto from PromoAM, wishing you a happy PM.